So some of you, obviously, I had last semester in our college algebra course, but for the rest of you, my name is Meha Daruka. I will be your instructor for this course. And like I said, this is college trigonometry. This is, I guess, in a way, the next level from college algebra. And I'll definitely get more information from you why you guys are taking this. But normally it's either for a program or if you guys are heading down like a STEM pathway, then that's kind of where we get into, trigonometry and then maybe calculus, if that's kind of where you guys are headed. So this is kind of one of those stepping stone courses. Now, even though this is trigonometry and there's going to be a lot of, new functions and stuff, we're going to be talking about it, you're still going to be bringing a lot of knowledge from college algebra. So I know we've been on break. We had a nice, 3-4 weeks break between last semester ending and this one starting. So if you're a bit fuzzy on college algebra concepts, it may not be a bad idea to go back, maybe review some of your notes, just make sure you're comfortable with some of the basics. And you'll kind of see, we'll keep hitting those, as we get into the course. And you'll see how some of those concepts are going to be used. So hopefully, if you guys still have your notes from last semester or, whenever you took college algebra, you should be able to go back. Your textbook does offer like a practice chapter also. So hopefully, if you needed extra help, you can get that from the textbook itself. And again, for those of you who do not know much about me, I grew up in India. I came to the US in, fall of 2000. I moved to Colorado fall of 2018. And I've basically been here since then. So I've been working at Ames since 2018. I guess this is going into my 5th year now at Ames. I grew up in India, so a lot of our English is British English that we learned. And I know some of you may have seen this last semester. So some words, my pronunciation will be different because it's easier for me to pronounce them the way I learned it and not so much in the English, American English way. So if anytime a word does not make sense, you're not sure what I'm saying, just let me know and I can, spell it out for you, write it out, so you know what I'm talking about. Just some words, no matter how hard I try, it just does not come out in the same pronunciation as an American accent. So before we get into our course shell, talk about the syllabus and all of that, I'd like to have you guys introduce yourselves so, your classmates can get to know you. Definitely, I can get to know you. So all I'm looking for, of course, is your name. When was the last time you took a math class? Which one was it? And then why are you taking this class? So I guess we'll start at this end of the room and make our way across. So we'll start with you.
Thanks, Nate. Took algebra with you last semester, and I plan on going into software engineering.
Oh, okay. So this would be a required class for you then? Yeah.
My name's Christopher. I took college algebra last semester
Okay.
in Loveland, and then
Lovely.
the reason why I'm taking this class is because I'm going into some type of engineering, not sure which.
Oh, okay. So you're still kind of thinking on that? Yeah. All right. And you said Christopher Garrett?
Mhm.
All right. Wonderful. Nate, go ahead.
My name is Stephanie. I took college algebra last semester and I'm taking this course because I want to go into aerospace engineering.
Nice. Very good. And is that with fellow?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Go ahead.
My name is Emily and I took algebra last semester. And the reason why I want to take this class is because I want to get started with college classes and I want to go into STEM.
Okay, wonderful. And that would be Lopez, right? Yeah, thank you. Go ahead.
So my name is Genevieve and I took college algebra last semester. And then I'm taking this class just because it's the next step and I wanted to get a head start.
Okay, all right. Wonderful.
My name is Ariana and the last semester I took college algebra and I'm taking this class because I'm going to environmental engineering.
Wonderful. Oh, wonderful. Very nice.
My name is Donovan. I took college algebra last year
Last year.
and I'm taking this class so I can get into, because it's a primary for civil engineering. So
Yeah, oh yeah. Any kind of engineering field, you're gonna do this as your stepping stone, and that would be Donovan Rios?
Yep.
Yeah, awesome, thank you.
My name is Alexander. I took a college algebra last semester and I'm taking this class for architecture.
Architecture, oh, nice. And that would be Marquez, right? Ready, go ahead.
I took algebra online last semester
Okay,
and I'm going to AI development.
wonderful. It's kind of nice because, you know, a lot of times I end up teaching, college algebra and statistics, so we get a lot of people from, you know, all parts of the spectrum. So you will have non-STEM majors, you know, STEM majors. So teaching this class is really special for me because then I get to work with, you know, STEM concentrated students. So this is very exciting. And I love teaching this class, and we love to offer this down here at Fort Lupton because, you know, unfortunately, we don't have a big enough crowd for the calculus sequence down here. So for those classes, you guys will end up going to Greeley. But at least, you know, this can be one class we can offer you here, so you're not having to travel to Greeley for that. All right, let's get into our course shell here. So you will normally see announcements, you know, of course, right on the front page here. Why are you not moving? They changed the smart boards on us. Over the break. And now I cannot get to work them. So you guys obviously would have received an email. And then here's just your welcome message to kind of let you know what the first steps were involved in here. And then, you know, of course, you'll see announcements popping up here as we move forward. Most of your class information is going to be available under content. So that's where you're going to go at the beginning. So some of these things you want to take care of as you are coming into this course. The getting started, again, just kind of let you know about the course, the expectations, that sort of thing. I normally send reminders through the app called remind.com. And again, those of you who were with me in college algebra, you guys know that. So, you know, this way I can send you reminders about deadlines, homework is due, exam is coming up, you know, make sure you get your homework done and that kind of thing. So you don't have to share your phone numbers with me. You can also sign up as email if you don't want to do text messages. But the benefit is you can receive just a quick text message on your phone saying, hey, remember your class, this assignment is due. But like I said, if you don't want to do text messages, you can sign up for your email and you'll get just that reminder that I send. So there's a link on this. If you go ahead and click on that, and you guys should have actually also received an email, I think last week from me. But if you just click on that link over here, the ACC Math 1420, it will take you to the invitation for accepting that. And it does not share your cell phone number with me or nothing. All I see is your name. So you're not sharing any personal information. I'm not sharing any of my personal information with you, but that's basically how you would sign up for it. Because I don't do email reminders. I'll just do a quick, you know, I have an app on my phone so I can just go in there and say, hey guys, don't forget about this assignment coming up. So that happens through the Remind app. If you guys have not already done this, you know that there is a separate email through D2L, and then there's a separate email you have through ames.edu, which comes through Google app. So if you don't want to go to two different places to access your email, it's a great idea to forward your D2L email to your Google one. And so that way you're only going to one place. So you literally just go under, I think, account settings here. And it's been a while since I set mine up. Yeah, go under account settings, and then at the very end, you'll see that email tab. If you click on it, scroll all the way down, you'll see the forwarding options, and you will see I forwarded my email to my ames.edu. So that way you're only going to one place. And you know, you have to check both emails. You cannot ignore one or the other because some of your other information is coming through ames.edu, but then most of your faculty is probably emailing you through D2L. So it just makes it easier. So just type in your ames.edu email address in there. Choose whichever option you want. You can see I chose the last one, save and close, and you are good to go. So that's your forwarding option. And then I just included another link in here. You know, we have tutoring available through the main Greeley campus. Unfortunately, we don't have in-person tutors on the Fort Lupton campus here, but you can access tutoring through Zoom. And then, of course, if you guys are comfortable going up to Greeley, you can do in-person also, but they have a booking system that you need to book your appointment. So this is just a PDF document that kind of walks you through the steps of how you need to book that. Just some more instructor information, just details about myself, and I've kind of already given you a little overview. I am giving you the option of a Zoom classroom link over here. So for any reason you're not feeling well, or, cars break down, bad weather, because we are in the middle of winter right now, right? And spring is definitely the semester where we'll run into bad weather. So if something like that happens, the college will automatically expect us to not cancel class and just move it to Zoom. So especially if it's a snow day. Back in the pre-pandemic times, we would have just canceled class, but now automatically we assume everybody can stay home and do Zoom. Now, if you have trouble accessing the internet or something, just let me know that, hey, this is why I couldn't do that. But that would be the expectation of us doing a remote class. However, I do not want you to use Zoom on exam days. So on the day we will have exam, you will be doing exam in person in class with me, because we are technically a traditional class. This is just a secondary option as a backup with the Zoom. And then you'll also see there's a link for the Zoom office hours. Now, I am on campus here Tuesday, Thursday, so I'll do my office hours in person also. But if you had to leave right after class and you couldn't stay, you can always come and see me on Zoom for office hours. So you've got those links over there for the classroom and the office hours. And then here's your course syllabus in the PDF format and just as a web page. And we'll get to that here in a minute. Just a breakdown, and you can see it's just a very basic breakdown of what our class looks like for our semester this week. So chapter-wise, we're not looking at too many chapters. We're doing chapter 1, chapter 2 in their entirety, but then we're doing all these sections from chapter 3, chapter 4, and chapter 6. But you will see chapter 1 is where we kind of set the stage for trigonometry. So that is going to be our biggest chunk of what we're going to be doing. And we're breaking it up into 2 separate exams because it's 8 sections. So we're going to do the first 4 sections for exam 1 and then the last 4 sections as exam 2. So you will see those are broken down into 2 parts. And then we're combining chapters 3 and 4 into 1 exam. Chapter 2 is going to be its own. And by the time we get to chapter 6, we'll be ready for the final. So you don't have a separate exam for chapter 6. That'll just go into the final. So that's kind of given to you right over there. And you'll see I've listed the exam dates underneath that. So you can kind of keep track of, when your homework would be due, because homework is due the same day that you're going to be taking the exams, which would be 11 o'clock since our class starts at 11:15. And then you've got just some general links from the college. So any kind of help you needed, of course, you can see the link for tutoring over there if you wanted to access the math tutoring. So all of that is available right here in the very first course information module. Then as you go down, you will see there's the module for WebAssign. So you remember how we were using MyMathLab last semester for college algebra? And maybe some of you did that too, depending on who you had. So for Trig, we're using WebAssign. So that's going to be our homework platform. And then you will see underneath that, I have broken down our modules by chapters. So if you go under any of those chapter modules, the read section that you see is where you have the class handouts. So instead of printing those, since I have posted these on D2L, we'll just access them from here, but you will see there's all kinds of handouts over here that will be following for chapter 1. And then I always record my video lectures. So these are lectures from the previous semester. And we only offer this class, or rather I only offer this class once a year in the spring semester. So you will not see any fall videos in there. They only go from spring to spring. So they're about a year apart. But you'll see these are the last time I taught the class, which was last year, spring 2022. And anytime I have students asking me help on questions, I will try to record them sometimes as videos, or if it's simple enough, then I'll put just a document together and I'll usually share that at the bottom of the chapter. So this was a question a student had asked me from chapter 1. So whatever solution I send them, I'll put that down here. So if you guys, run into the same problem, you can always come and see, hey, is there a homework help that's already there? So that's kind of how these modules are set up. And you can see, as I said, these are broken down by chapters, and it's the same format, the reading on top, which is your class handouts, and then the videos, the view on the bottom. So that's going to be under each chapter. Let's go back and just look at our classroom policy. So we'll actually get into our course syllabus here. So the first information obviously is just your class information, course number. This is a, that name just flew out of my head. Guaranteed transfer course. So anytime you transfer to any four-year university, as long as you have a grade of C or higher, which is normally the standard. Some programs may just accept A or B grades, so that would be something you would have to see, if you're transferring to another school, another program, what their grade requirements are, but generally C or higher is acceptable. So anywhere in Colorado, if you were to transfer, your college algebra course is the same way, trig is the same way, they would transfer evenly to a four-year institution or any other higher education institution. Of course, this is our classroom. We're meeting Tuesday, Thursdays, 11:15 to 12:30. Like I said, we're a full semester length course. You've got both of my email addresses here. My office is just upstairs, room 214. Office hours, I've kept them at half an hour, but that doesn't mean I'm going to throw you out the door at like 1:30, like, oh, you got to leave now. That's usually just mostly for Zoom, because sometimes students don't know like when to hop on to Zoom, but I will stay as long as you need me to. It's just, this is kind of the time I just set out for the Zoom people. So this will be every day, Monday through Thursday, but if none of these times work, obviously just let me know, hey, Ms. Daruka, this is the time I'd like to meet, in person, or can we do Zoom, whatever works for you. And honestly, even for Fridays, that's okay. I didn't officially put times, but I'm still available on Friday. So if, that happens to be a day where it works better for you, just give me a heads up and say, this is the time I can meet. Can we set up an appointment? I do prefer to be addressed as Ms. Daruka. I think I didn't say that. Your drop deadline and your course withdrawal deadline. So remember, drop deadline means it will not show up on your transcript. But if you withdraw, then it does show up with a W next to your grade. So that would be the difference. And then of course, there's the financial side of things. And with a withdrawal, you don't get any refunds in your tuition. If you were interested in some other dates related to the college, not so much to the class, that would be under the academic calendars link, student services link. So you've got all of those available to you. As far as our course goes, as you can see, you guys had to pass college algebra with a C or a higher grade to be in here. So I would imagine that's already taken care of for you guys. We are using the Ron Larson textbook called Trigonometry. You don't actually need the physical textbook because we're not really going to be going through, since we have the ebook and we have the homework through WebAssign, we're not really using the physical textbook. So if you want the textbook, that's entirely up to you. You'll see I didn't even bring my copy of the textbook in here because, everything's online now. But the WebAssign would be required because that's where we're doing homework, quizzes, exams, final exam, all of that will be online. Generally speaking, scientific calculators are okay because some of the graphing, we'll be doing, well, we don't really do graphing by hand anymore. So I guess graphing calculators would be okay. I'm probably going to be using Desmos quite a bit. So if you guys have a graphing calculator, don't go buy a new one. Just use what calculator you have. Most of your calculations can be done with a scientific one. On the day of the exam, I do prefer you guys actually have a handheld calculator instead of, going online, because it just kind of gets into that whole academic dishonesty and all of that. If you go onto other websites, and the college has very strict policies about that. We do have some spare calculators in the classroom, but if you wanted to bring your own, I think the only calculator I can allow you to use on the day of the exam would probably just be Desmos graphing calculator. So this course like I said, we'll be introducing some new functions. So, of course, we'll be talking about all the trigonometric functions. But then we will also talk about, like I said, there's a lot of overlap with college algebra. So graphing will be a big part of it. We'll talk about inverse functions. Trig identities is a big part of any trigonometric course. So we'll be talking about that, how to use some of these identities to solve equations, to solve triangles. We'll be talking about, as you can see, trigonometric form of the complex numbers. And then lastly, the last thing we'll go over is the polar coordinates. So that's kind of the very general definition of what we're doing. If you want to look at the specific breakdown, then you can see the course learning outcomes here. Now, the first 7 are required. So that's going to be our main focus, and honestly, time depending, we'll see if we can do the last one. Because that's a recommended topic, not a required one. So we have to do the required ones first, and then we'll see if we have time. I can definitely introduce you guys to the last one. And then the breakdown for each one of those learning outcomes is given to you over here. So you can kind of see what those little things would be. This one here talks about your guaranteed transfer. So that I was talking about, you can transfer to any university, and you can see it says for transferring students, successful completion with a minimum of, they're saying C minus, but basically C grade is what you're looking for. And then they just kind of break down into the criteria and stuff. I'm not going to go over that, but if you guys want to, you can. These are some of the aims policies. So you can kind of see what specific aims learning outcomes are, our course delivery method. And that kind of changed, like I said, with pandemic, everything just kind of assumed that we will go remote if anything happens and we're not able to meet in person. Your student code of conduct, and all of those. So those are mainly just from aims. You can look at that if you wanted to, but now we're getting into our classroom policies. So since this is a traditional in-person on-campus class, the expectation is every time the class meets, you guys will be here. So whether we meet in person or if we have to go remote, the expectation is you will be there. Class starts at 11:15, ends at 12:30. So we expect you to be here for that hour, 15 minutes. For any reason, you cannot be in class. Keep in mind that I will be recording our video lectures, and you can kind of see that little camera screen over there. I'm not sure how it's going to look once the recording is done, because that's where the camera is. So I am not sure. That's kind of why I also wanted to record today's lecture to see what it would look like in the recording. So hopefully you can see the major part is going to be this one here, because this is what we're going to be lecturing on. So as long as recording this and the video camera is just that little tiny one over there, I'm not worried about that. And we can obviously turn it off if we don't want to do a video feed. But as long as you guys can see the screen, hear me talk, that's the main part I want to focus on. So you will have video recordings that you can later go on and access. So if you were not able to come to class, that's something I would recommend you to do. And the other thing would be either get in touch with me or your classmates just to make sure you got everything. If there were any deadlines you need to be aware of, any, exams coming up that you need to be aware of, just make sure you haven't missed out on that just because you were not in class that day. But, again, you have previous semesters video recordings also. So if for any reason this semester's video recording doesn't come out nice, you still have something to fall back on. So I do expect you guys to be, here in class on time, stay till the end, participate. I think participation is going to be the biggest part of it, because that's how I know if you're understanding something or not. So just don't sit there quietly like you're watching a movie. Okay, I do want interaction from everyone. And then, of course, we're going to focus on our coursework. So there will be some lecturing, but there will also be a lot of hands-on, working on assignments and that kind of things. So we basically say 100% attendance is mandatory. But like I said, I know sometimes life happens and you cannot be here for every class. However, keep in mind this little paragraph right over here. You have to have a minimum of 90% attendance on the day you take the exam. So, today is our first day. So counting from today, our first exam will be here in the next couple of weeks. So make sure you have 90% attendance to that point, which would probably mean you can maybe miss one class, but not more. Because, again, that will be a short period of time. And this will be true as we get to other exams also. So from the start of the class till the day we take the exam, you have to have 90% attendance, or you do not get to take the exam at all. So attendance is something you really want to focus on. Because, if you're taking an in-class course, the expectation is you to be in class. Otherwise, go for an online option if that's going to be an issue. So 90% requirement is going to be for all exams, chapter exams, final exam, all of them. Here are some policies for the Zoom classroom. So if you guys do, end up attending through Zoom for whatever reason, you will need to register for it. And then I have to be able to see you when you are on Zoom. So I have to be able to see your face. You cannot be in a dark room. Your camera cannot be pointed, anywhere else but your face, because again, I will be looking at you guys while you're here in the classroom. I need to be able to look at you on the little screen here also. No lying in bed, anything that you would be doing normally in a classroom, I expect that on the Zoom. Also, I've included the Zoom link here as well, but remember it's in the course shell. Also, and then here I've kind of listed specifically what I expect you to do if you're going to be attending on Zoom. So this would be something I would definitely ask you guys to look through if that is something you plan on doing. I have had students fall asleep on me while they were in my Zoom classroom. Don't do that, because I will be recording you falling asleep on Zoom. Normally, I try to reply back within 24 hours if I can, during business hours. Weekends can take longer, and sometimes I'm honestly not even available on weekends. And then I really don't do any kind of instant messaging on any platform. So email would be the best thing. Just your breakdown for your grades. So your homework quizzes, and if I decide to do some other assignments, which I haven't really planned anything right now, but I'm kind of hoping to incorporate just a few hands-on activities. All of those combined together would be 40%. Your chapter exams would come down to 40%, and then your final exam is 20%. So as you can see, that adds up to 100. Your grading scale is pretty standard. 90 to 100 would be a grade of A, 80 to 89 is a B, 70 to 79 is a C, 60 to 69 is a D, and then below 60, of course, is failing. So again, 60 to 69, a D grade for AIMS is considered passing, right? But remember, as I was telling you, if you're transferring this to another program, if you're going to another university, then D is probably not something they will accept. But technically it's considered a passing grade, but it does become challenging because then it doesn't transfer to programs. I am not sure why Word did that, but it gave me like this whole blank page after that. Here's your course schedule again, so it's included in your syllabus as well. Honestly, it may not be a bad idea to either go through your textbook or look through some old video lectures, because if you're already familiar with the concept that we're going to be working on, working through examples, going through problems will become really easy. Because then you are already familiar with the topic, and you're just in class trying to make sure you understood it, and you can work through the concepts, because this is going to be a little concept-based class, right? I mean, we're going to do some applications, but a lot of it is going to be understanding the concepts of trigonometry, going through that algebra and geometry and kind of bringing it all together. So there are video lectures in D2L if you guys want to watch. I think it would help you tremendously. Like I said, we're using WebAssign for all of our assignments. Those of you who've taken college algebra with me, you're aware of this policy, but for the new students, you have to have a 90% grade on your homework as well before you can take the chapter exams. So for each homework section, so chapter 1, the first exam you're doing is 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4. So each of those 4 sections have to have a 90% grade before the exam will open up for you. And I believe the way WebAssign is set up is a little bit different. Unfortunately, it does not work like my math lab in this sense, because you have to do 1.1, get 90% before 1.2 will open. So you know how in my math lab, you can do randomly any of the 4 sections, and as long as all of them had 90%, you would get into the exam. But WebAssign does one after the other. So you have to get 90% on 1.1, then 1.2 opens, get 90% on 1.2, then 1.3 open. So unfortunately, you cannot just randomly start like, oh, I thought 1.4 was easier. I'll do that first and then come back to 1.1. That won't happen. You have to go in sequence. So that's another thing you want to keep in mind, is the other homeworks will not open till the previous one has a 90% on it. I wish they would change that, but whatever programming they have, that's how they've set it up. So keep that in mind. Whatever questions you see on your homework, that's the question pool I'm going to be using to create the homework exam. So there will be no new questions in the exam that you haven't already seen in the homework. So if you go through all the homework questions, then you know those are the same questions. Of course, numbers will change, but those are the same types of questions that will show up on your exam. So no surprises on the exam. Whatever you do in the homework is going to be in your exam questions. So the one thing would be not falling behind, since you have to go through these homeworks in sequence. This is not something you could start on a Saturday to take the exam on a Monday or Tuesday, because it will take you time to go through this. So get a head start, people. Please do not wait to get started on those homework assignments. Same thing for quizzes. You have to have the 90% on your homework section before the quiz will open. Now for this class, you don't have very big quizzes, 5-6 questions, maybe 7 at the most, but they do go section by section. So you will have separate quizzes for each homework section. So instead of doing like one quiz for the first exam, you will have 4 smaller quizzes for each section. So quiz for 1.1, quiz for 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, and same thing. So just make sure you have that 90% grade on your homework before you can get into the quiz too. Now you do get 3 attempts on your quizzes. So if you didn't like the grade you got the first time, you have 2 more tries to go back and try for a higher grade. Exams, there are only 1 attempt on chapter exams, and those ones we will be taking in class. So make sure you have that 90% on your attendance and 90% on your homework before the exam will open up for you. And if for some reason, you didn't meet any one of those requirements, then you will not be able to take the exam, which means you end up getting a 0 on that. I will actually allow you guys to do notes, because I realized later on that I should have changed that. Because there are some formulas and stuff that you will have to use. So I think it just makes it easier if you have access to them instead of trying to memorize them. So we can do note cards. So we'll do that. So I'll probably go back and change that. In here, you can do note cards, but we don't want to mess around with books and stuff. Obviously, on exam days, you cannot use your calculator through a cell phone, through a tablet or something like that, anything that might be a smart device. So that's why I said for the day of the exam, we definitely want to see if you can get a handheld calculator. I'll provide you with scratch paper and all of that. There are no makeup exams. So for any reason you cannot take the exam on that day, you want to give me a heads up. If we can reschedule it, we'll try. But if you just don't give me any information, you just don't show up and then you expect a makeup, it's not going to happen. So no makeup exams, but what I will give you the option of is dropping your lowest chapter exam grade at the end of the semester before you take the final exam. So if you happen to miss an exam, maybe because you didn't have 90% on attendance, or maybe you didn't have 90% on homework. If you miss an exam and it's only 1 exam you've missed, that 0 can be dropped and it will not affect your overall grade. However, if you miss more than 1 exam, then only one of those 0s will get dropped, but the other 0s will stay. You don't have that very many exams in this class, so you probably don't want to miss too many exams. But like I said, one of those 0s can be dropped, but the others will stay, which will then obviously affect your overall grade. I think I already mentioned that. Final exam will be comprehensive, which means it will take everything from the first day all the way till the last day. So basically everything from chapter 1 to chapter 6. And again, I say you're not allowed notes, but we're probably going to let you guys bring formulas and stuff in with you. Scientific graphing calculators would probably be okay. Some of this is like a department policy, but they've kind of relaxed it since COVID happened. Because COVID really did change a lot of the way we had to do things. However, they are very, very strict about not using calculators on, smart devices. So no calculators on those. For exams, we definitely will, take academic dishonesty very seriously. So you definitely want to not get tempted by other resources.
Are homeworks unlimited tries or a set amount?
That's a good question. I think WebAssign does 100 tries. I don't think it's unlimited, but hopefully that would still give you enough. Yeah, WebAssign is just designed very differently, but they are also not as, like, you will see the interface and everything is very different from my math lab. So I'm not sure what kind of resources they have, but it's a good program. I mean, it works for our class, and it's a little bit economical option also, which honestly, we went with that because the textbook is so good. That was kind of our main reasons behind it. So as I had already mentioned before, all of your exams have to be done in person in class. So the Zoom option will not be available on the day of the exam. You do want to make sure you take your exam in class. And like I said, if for any reason you are not able to do that, give me a heads up. If you need special accommodations, you need to give me a heads up about that also, especially if you need to take your exam in the testing center because of those accommodations. And, I need to coordinate with them, set up a time with them and stuff. So I've said 3 weekdays in advance, so that way it gives us enough time to set things up for you guys, get those going. Just again, laying out the calculator policy over here. You've got your exam dates. So these are tentative dates. It will just depend on how long it takes us to get through those sections. So if we need to move the dates, we will, but this is just kind of what I came up with. So we at least had a game plan. And then just some helpful hints here at the end, of course, come to class because that's where you're going to get the best information from. You get to ask questions while you're here, before class, during class, after class. Stay up to date with your homework. That's the one thing I always notice with math courses is it's easy to ignore the math homework because you have to do a paper, write your history paper, English paper, whatever. And then you're like, oh my God, I only have a day to get my math homework done. And this class is very unforgiving. So if you fall behind, catching up will be a nightmare. Do a little bit every day, do a few problems every day. Don't just completely ignore it and skip out on it. Don't fall behind, ask questions. Anytime you get stuck, something doesn't make sense, ask questions. And participation, I'll highlight that again. I need you guys to participate so that we can get the most out of understanding, what we are here. I mean, obviously, all of you need this course to move forward in your education. So, take it one time, do well, be done with it. For any reason you miss any kind of work, I will try to work with you if I can, but if you don't give me a heads up, I cannot let you do any makeup or any of that. So I need you to communicate with me anytime you are facing any kind of challenges. Any kind of bad behavior, improper behavior and conduct will not be appreciated. So if you are upset for any reason with me, with a classmate, with anything that may be unrelated to the class. But if you think we can help you, reach out to me. We have counselors on campus. Ms. Bowker is absolutely amazing. We can set up a schedule with her. If there's something I can help you with, we can try and help you out with that. But, lashing out with something you are unhappy about can lead to severe actions being taken, and I'd rather avoid that. So anything that is upsetting you, if you're not feeling comfortable talking to me in person, you can always send me an email or you can call me. Or like I said, we have other resources. You can go to them and say, hey, I'm looking for help. What can we do? Normally, they do not like us to have food in the classrooms, but since our computers are kind of in the back, I think drinks would be okay. Obviously, you want to watch out for your own machines. You don't want to spill anything on them. The biggest part would be IT getting upset with us if we spilled anything on their computers. So that would be one thing to watch out for. But yeah, bring whatever beverages you want to. Obviously, no sleeping in class. We'll have discussions and stuff, so obviously you guys will get an opportunity to talk to each other, but outside of that, keep your personal talks and stuff, limited.
How do you want us to go about telling you we will be absent? Email?
Yeah, email's fine, or if you know, like ahead of time, you're gonna be, just let me know in class that, hey, these are the days, I'm not gonna be here, and we can talk about what to do about that. I will try, and I say this every time, I will try to let you guys go at 12:30, but sometimes I get carried away, and if I keep you a couple minutes extra, I apologize upfront, because I am known to do that. I know you guys know that from last semester. Again, guys, academic dishonesty is a very, very big thing, so you don't understand something, ask me, but don't try to resort to, other options which will get you in trouble. Senator Christopher's already asked that questions, but did any of you have other questions that you were kind of thinking about as we went over this?
I was trying to get into the website, I want to this, so.
Oh, I had a feeling it would do that. I used the link from last year. Okay, so it did not update the link. And the funny thing is, when I do it as an instructor, it takes me to my course. Okay. Oh. Nothing on the wrong keyboard, look at that. Yeah, it's webassign.net, so if you guys can go to that, because I don't want to get you guys into your Zoom. Your WebAssign classroom. See, and that's what it does to me. It takes me to my course, so I thought it would work for you, but apparently not. So if you can go in there and I can. It will ask you for this class key. Oh, this time it comes from this. So under WebAssign, you should be able to go under enter class key. And then that's the key you're looking for, that AIMS 1604 7289. Now, I don't think this class is set up for first day inclusive access like college algebra courses are, so it may ask you for payment options. Or it may start you out with a trial phase and then give you so much time to pay for it. So try that and let's see if you are able to get in. Yeah. Yeah, I see that's how it shows up. So that means it's waiting for you to get 90% of 1.1. So that's something. So are you on webassign.net? Are you able to see that class? You want me to take the bigger? So once you get in, you will actually see a chapter pre-quiz. And then the section 1.1. It seems like that one is not. Even webassign, Are you in? Are you able to see the homework? Or did you not type that in? Why is it doing that? So you may have to create a new account if you haven't used Engage before, but if you have this account, then you should be able to use that. Okay, so yeah, go ahead and then you set up your login and password. Did it let you in or no? What happened? See, it's showing me that you are in there. I don't know why it's not letting you go in. Just make sure you guys can see your names up there. Maybe we'll just put your concern over, like, you guys will go back into the sign button and see what happens. Is it showing your name? I know the last one.
7 to 8.
You're in. Okay, so that chapter P quiz that you see in your list of assignments is what you are going to be taking on Thursday. So that is going to be testing your skills from college algebra. So, and that's why I kept it for Thursday. So that way, if you guys wanted to review, look over some notes, you can do that. So that's the first thing we'll do when you guys come in on Thursdays. We'll do that chapter P quiz, see how you guys performed, and then we'll get into chapter 1 after that. So just giving you guys a heads up for Thursday. So this is kind of what I was talking about, you see just the. Everything else is there. This is waiting for you to 100%. So you guys should notice once you are in your homework that only the chapter P quiz and section 1.1 links are in blue. And that's the idea I was telling you, where you have to get 90% on section 1.1 before the quiz for 1.1 will open, and the section 1.2 homework will open. So they will say grade till you don't get that 90%. So I know your interface looks a little bit different than mine. Let's see, let me do a student here. And so this is kind of what your view looks like. So this is what I was talking about. Now you will see other homework sections are open because we kind of start a new part of chapter 1 with section 1.5, since your first exam is only 1.1 to 1.4. So 1.5 will be open, and you'll see that same thing. 2.1 will be open, 3.1 will be open, and then chapter 6.7 section will be open. And of course, I've also made your practice final exam available. Just, if it's not for a grade, so if you wanted to play around with it, look at it, you definitely can. You can see you have your textbook link over here, but it also gives you the option of looking at your textbooks through the top. So my ebooks, you can go through that and find your textbook link through that. So if you click on that, I think it takes you to the contents page, if I remember correctly. So under those prerequisites, that chapter P, that's the quiz you guys are taking on Thursday. And this is where it goes over those concepts I was talking about, from college algebra. So if you wanted to review, you can definitely go through. You can see they have examples. They give you answers for some of them. There are videos that I think the author himself has created. And then, of course, everything that you see in here. As you go towards the end of the sections, you will see examples, exercise problems. So there's all kinds of stuff in that prerequisites chapter if you wanted to look through that, and here are your examples at the end of each section. If you just wanted to get extra practice, and as you'll see, all the odd numbered ones have solutions to them. So yeah, you should have access to the e-textbook, and that's the main reason why I don't want you to buy a physical copy, because you're just paying extra for physical copy when you have access to the textbook. The other thing I would obviously recommend you guys to do is get familiar with the interface. So you wouldn't be able to get into chapter P without the quiz without a password, but you can get into your first homework. And you can see this is, you know, it shows you how many problems you have. And if you've answered them, then it will give you the points needed. And then, you know, you're just starting out with some concept questions. You can see there's the link for Ask Your Teacher. So this kind of works like my math lab, where it sends me an email if you have a question on that. My notes, I think, might be just for your own personal reasons. This is just a breakdown of your grade. There are some help features, so this will take you to a textbook page, or if there's a video related to it, it'll take you to that. But it's a very, very simple interface compared to what you guys, if you've used extensively my math lab, then you'll know how different this looks. So some of these are all fill in the blanks, then we kind of get into some formulas, and then we'll start breaking it down into more of the concepts as we go forward. So whatever you're comfortable with, if you're not ready to start on this and you want to wait till Thursday, I definitely understand that, but just make sure you're comfortable with the interface, what it looks like. I know I made the practice study plan also available to you. I'm trying to see where that might be on the student side of things. And is our internet really that slow? Oh, right at the bottom, you see it shows you the personal study plan. So that's where you can go for extra practice. So that way it doesn't affect your homework grade, but you can get extra practice out of it. So that would be right at the bottom of that homepage. And as you can see, it breaks it down by chapters. So if you wanted to go in and practice a little bit, you can see all the practice options over here. Just as you guys are looking through this, any questions popping up right now in terms of web design? And of course, as you start working with it, if you obviously run into problems, you don't understand something, I'll be there to help you through that. So that's kind of where we're headed, guys. So on Thursday, you will be coming, and the first thing we'll do is that chapter P quiz, because I want to see how you are in terms of your college algebra skills. We'll discuss a little bit about the results of the quiz, and then we'll get into section 1.1. Another thing I wanted to point out to you in your D2L course shell, under chapter 1, where you have all the handouts, you'll see the very first link I have there is the unit circle. It'll be a little bit of time before we get to it, but he is your friend. Because this guy will come in solving many of the equations, many of the problems we'll be doing. You want to save it electronically, that's fine. You want to print it out, that's fine. But this is a good resource to have handy when you're working on homework, when you're working on exams. So I would definitely, for the exam day, I definitely recommend you guys to print this. And then, you know, when you're working through homework and stuff, it's good to have that somewhere easily available, because a lot of the functions, the way we're going to break them down are going to be either based on the radian angles, which is the one with the pi over 6, pi over 4, and all of those angles. And then you'll of course see the degree angles also underneath that, the 30-degree, 45-degree. And then it actually breaks down into what your coordinate pairs are over here. So all of this information that you're seeing on this unit circle will come in handy. So it's a really good tool to either have printed or saved somewhere where you can easily access it. And we're going to be using it pretty much for the rest of the semester. I don't really want to get started on the lecture. We don't have a whole lot of time, but I want to again give you guys an opportunity to ask me any questions you might have concerning the class, the policies that I've laid out. Okay, alrighty, well, have a wonderful day. I will be seeing you guys on Thursday. So take care, everyone. Bye, stay warm. What time is the question? I'm sorry, we need to.